Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Gaming with me, Tony Mo, and I thank you on this glorious Friday for joining me right here in the Dark Zone inside of the Division. We're going to do something, I don't know, I guess we're going to do something fun, a little bit more casual. I wanted to, number one, spend a little bit of time talking about SMGs and how I feel about their current balance and situation within the Division, especially from a PvP perspective. And also wanted to share with you guys, let me just kill some of these Rikers, a work-in-progress solo Dark Zone build that I've been tweaking. Now, I've actually been playing solo in the Dark Zone, like, since day one. I spend a lot of time playing in the Dark Zone alone because I enjoy it, and I'm crazy like that. And I actually spend a lot of time dealing with level 32 and level 31 enemies and hunting down bosses. So this build is very much focused on sustainability, survivability, as well as overall damage output. Because those are really the three things you need if you're going to solo in the north of the Dark Zone. And of course, a pretty decent set of weapons as well, but that's on a person-to-person basis. So these are all the things I've taken into consideration with this build, but it is still very much in testing. And now I know I could just wait, and I could show you guys the finished product and have all the fancy editing, but I really genuinely like sharing builds with you guys. I like sharing them while they're in progress. I like sharing them when they're finished, because even when they're finished, and I do one of those videos, you guys provide me with a lot of feedback regarding what you've done with builds that were similar. You tell me how that build helped you out, and in a lot of instances, you end up helping me mold that build into something better than it was. That's what happened with the Paladin build. I did a lot of tweaks to that regarding feedback that you guys had, and it ended up being just a more efficient, versatile build. So I'm hoping the same sort of thing can happen here with this unnamed solo Dark Zone build. You know, we can help each other out. I might get some awesome feedback from you, and I might help some of you guys shape your future solo Dark Zone build. At the same time, you might just hate the idea of being a masochist, and you may never want to go solo in the Dark Zone, and that's okay too. But let's take a look at the abilities list as it currently stands. We've got First Aid running the Overdose modification because you need healing. It's as simple as that. If you don't have some sort of a heal in the Dark Zone, apart from your med kits, you're not going to survive. Now, I messed around with Boost, the idea of being able to get additional damage output from my medkit, but I just realized that Overdose is far more useful and far more effective. There are a lot of instances where you're going to be really low in health, you're going to want to use Overdose, and you're not going to want just a heal that just heals you. You're going to want something that does as much healing as it possibly can. And considering I'm running a lower skill power build, this is a really effective tool. Moving over, we're running the Seeker Mine, which is currently using the Gas Charge mod. Now, this is something that is very much in testing by me. I've been using the gas charge for the last week now, and I still don't know how I feel about it. The idea is that this can be used to stun enemies, whether it be players to slow them down, or NPCs to basically disorient them and just cause them to shoot in a straight line. It does make it, you know, it's a great little crowd control tool. But I have my doubts as to whether or not it's more effective, and in the end, just overall more useful than the Airburst mod, which also has crowd control capabilities, but not so much against other players. So I guess that's something to consider. But the thing is, the Airburst actually does damage, actually does explosive damage, which means I can have talents that boost and benefit the Airburst mod. On the other hand, Gas Charge, there's no talents that I've been able to tell that actually provide any benefits to the Gas Charge. So, very much in testing. Last but not least, we're running Tactical Link, which of course is going to give us increased damage and critical hit chance to the user and all nearby allies. This is great for hunting down those named NPCs in the level 32 and level 31 zones. You're going to need something that allows you to increase your overall damage and critical hit chance. If you don't have this, seriously, you're going to end up spending a lot of time chewing down enemies, a lot of time that you don't have as a solo agent in the Dark Zone. You can't be hanging around spending 25, 30 minutes taking on one named NPC because you know what? The vultures will eventually start swooping on in, man. They may think, you know, you may think they're friendly, but just go ahead and pick up that high-end loot and they're going to drop you in a matter of seconds. Trust me. I speak from experience. Talents are an absolute disaster right now. That's why this is a work in progress build. I'm all for Shock and Awe, and Critical Save makes total sense. Using a med kit during low health increased damage resistance by 40% for 10 seconds. The thing is, using the med kit ability, the heal ability, actually takes a small, you know, set of frames to trigger, at which point you're already taking damage and you could potentially die. There are those instances where you take a lot of damage. Somebody burst damages on you. An NPC burst damages on you. You get hit by a sniper rifle. Pop a medkit, get that increased damage resistance, and then go ahead and deploy your full heal. Honestly, it makes a world of difference in terms of survivability. You have to remember, you can't go down. You're alone. There's no one to res you, man. There's no one to res you. these are a mess. Demolitions Expert and Chain Reaction obviously go hand in hand with the Airburst mod, which we're not running right now, so that is just how that's going to be for the time being. So let's see where we want to go here. Like I said, I want to spend some time talking about SMGs. I'd actually like to make the long trek up to the safe room up here and see if we can't see what sort of loot that guy's selling. I don't know if he refreshed. I think he should have refreshed, at least since the last time that I was there. So there should be some good stuff up there. Now, as you're going to notice that I'm running this AUG A3P. Now, interesting story behind this AUG. It's a high-end crafted blueprint. It has a gear score of 163. Ow. Ow. He poked me with a bullet. It's not nice. Let's just go ahead and do an overheal here. It's got a gear score of 163. Now, my Black Market AK has a gear score of 182. It's substantially higher. Yet, this ends up putting out more damage per second, more guaranteed damage per second. Now, like I said, DPS isn't the number you should always go by. It's very important to consider critical hit chance as well as the base damage for each bullet, because in most instances, you're not going to be able to get all rounds on target. Well, it's an SMG. It has almost no recoil. The range capability of the AUG is absolutely absurd, making it excessively effective. And it actually beats out the AK in DPS. Not to mention, all SMGs have a critical hit damage boost, at least the high-end ones do. And I've also got 25% boost to accuracy through a talent. It's bonkers, man. It's absolutely ridiculously overpowered in terms of how it's balanced against something like an AK, and that's a pretty big issue for me. I run into all too many vectors, MP5, and you know, in the Dark Zone, and they're excessively frustrating to deal with. Man, I'm going to use that word excessively a lot, I can tell you right now. They're really difficult to deal with from a PvP perspective, and they're very frustrating. They're really frustrating. Ask anybody who has genuinely had to deal with, you know, a vector or an SMG user, a high rate of fire SMG user in the Dark Zone. You feel like you're insanely ill-equipped, but you're not. It's just the fact that that weapon, as it's probably spec'd and rolled, is way too powerful. It's way too powerful. And there are many people who you'll notice, they'll run straight up on you with an AUG. You know, as somebody who's been using the Black Market AK extensively, and I have a good roll, man. Lots of critical hit damage. That thing is extremely effective. You know, so I start engaging a target at distance. Well, if they can close the gap, you know, which happens more times than it should, they're going to walk up on you. They're going to seriously shred you in about a couple seconds. I've been taken down by ridiculous vectors, ridiculous MP5Ns. And the issue at hand really is a lot to do with these more high rate of fire SMGs. You notice no one's running around with the Midas anymore. No one's using like the T821 because their fire rate is so obscenely low that you don't end up with that same potential DPS. You don't end up with the same overall damage output that you do from these really high ROF SMGs. And that's how, at the end of the day, these, you know, the AUG and all these different SMGs are able to beat out. They're able to beat out Black Market AKs and, you know, just crush these ridiculous damage output numbers. Because they're so fast and they're so stable that you're getting the most out of that potential DPS. This is going to end badly for us. Like I said, this is going to end badly for us. I'm too busy talking, and I lost the Dark Zone key. That's unfortunate. Alright, well, we're going to go to the safe room that I wanted to go to, which is 0.2k away, and we're just going to call that a day. I should probably do some sort of a guide at some point and actually show you guys how I really play when I play alone. You know, I did that interview with that individual who called himself Brad Pitt Yo. And when I asked him, what do you do as a solo DZ player? How do you stay alive? His response was, I just run a lot. And that's completely true. 100% true, man. Okay, so I don't think these guys have refreshed since I've last been here. So in case you were looking for a couple pieces of the Nomad, you can see we've got some 199 rolls on these knees and these gloves up in this far north vendor here. Yeah, you just run a lot. And that's a situation dealing with those shotgunners at level 32 especially. You're not going to go head-to-head with them. I mean, you saw I was putting out enough damage, but you need to increase the distance between you. And that's why I would use something like my M44. Oh my god. Just walked out of the safe room. Okay, let's go ahead and pop the gas charge. See if we can't land a headshot here. Luckily, these are only purples. Go, go, gadget thingy. Oh, that's unfortunate. Yeah, look at that. Why use a sniper rifle when you can use your AUG? Does significantly more damage. That's really the big issue that I have, and it's not so much that the SMG can do as much damage as an AK per shot, which they can. Like I said, this AUG roll is like 600 points under my black market AK, and it's a gear score 163. Oh, that's a shotgunner. Are you the same guy that killed me over there? No, that was way farther away. I was gonna say, you chased me all this way, man. I could just see him. He's like running. He's gonna be at safe room number whatever in that one part of the DZ. I'm gonna go get him, guys. You stay here. I got this dude. I'm gonna take him down. Don't you worry about me. I'll be all right. 3 hours later. Did you guys ever see Dave? Hey, Jerry, have you seen Dave? No, I haven't. He's gonna go kill that player, that user, but he never did. It's a bit of Tron going on there, right? So let's actually, I want to show you guys this AUG real quick. Let's sit down over here. But what I was saying, my problem is, like, there's just no recoil behind these SMGs, man. Behind these high rate of fire SMGs. It's absurd. Absolutely absurd. So here's the AUG roll that I have. Okay, there's my black market AK. As I said, gear score 182. Damage output per shot 9,989. We got 751 rounds per minute and a 60 round mag. It's really good talents. I've got critical hit damage increased by 26% with deadly, and I've got fierce. Critical hit chances increased by 8% when using this weapon. But roll down to the AUG. Number one, right off the bat, you see the DPS is much higher. Of course, that's because of the increased rate of fire. But a base damage of 9,705. What is gear score? It's a whole nother dilemma there. But we got plus 21% critical hit chance. RPM of 914. I've got destructive. Armor destruction value is increased by 17% when using this weapon, making it very good against players, as well as, of course, NPCs. And then we've got accurate. Accuracy is increased by 45%. Not too much concerned about the restore talent. I really don't care for it. But you can just see how overall, like, just how effective this thing is. This is bonkers, man. It's ridiculous. And again, I understand the idea that SMGs aren't supposed to be like a backseat weapon. You know, I'm not saying that they need to be, you know, balanced to the point where they're less useful than an assault rifle, but there's not enough range mitigation is one of the issues I have as well. That should be one of the the negatives of using an SMG, is that it doesn't have the same range capabilities as an assault rifle. And for some it is, but you know, again, when we're talking PvP in the Dark Zone, it doesn't make a difference. And then you have to deal with, you know, just how accurate these things are, the fact that there's almost no recoil. I just think it's a mess. I don't like that you're almost forced to use an SMG in the Dark Zone. Like, when you see how much time it actually takes to eliminate somebody, an elder player with an AK, you know, it's insane. It's absolutely insane. Alright, let's see what we got going on here. Let's actually kill some stuff. How about that? We got Midtown Music, which is, that's what we ran past. That's where we actually killed. There is a named NPC over that way. So if we're very careful about how we do this. The problem with this whole entire intersection is you've got enemies coming from multiple directions. So we've got cleaners moving up our back. We've got LMB shotgunners in front. More cleaners. So we're going to try and kind of chase them, get them to chase us around the corner here. Great thing, too, is they're going to start to mess with the LMB, so that's going to provide us with a window of opportunity to deal with these shotgunners. Now, it's tempting to use the tactical link in these situations, it really is, you know, especially as a survival tool, which there's no doubt that I use it like that sometimes. But when you're alone, I really do like to reserve it for dealing with the named NPCs. If I was playing with even one other player, you know, I might go ahead and deploy it, you know, and know that we have two of us, so I'm not... Oh, Scheiße. Okay, I lied, I'm using it. Get down, get down, get down! You must take cover. You must take cover now. Oh, man. Okay. I didn't realize that was a shot grenade. You cannot get hit by those things. That's why it's generally a good idea to not try and guess what type of grenade just landed at your feet and assume that it's only going to be like a disorientation grenade, because in most instances, it's not. It's not. It's probably going to be a shock grenade, especially if it's coming from an LMB shotgunner. All right, let's see what we can start to clean up here. Oh, there's Gambit. I actually thought that was a player for a second because he had no thing over his head, and I was like, whoa, that's not going to be good. That's going to go rogue. I'm going to go rogue. You know, if I just wish I could tell this thing, like, go, little gadget ball. Go take that guy out. It's just too tedious. It's just too tedious. Really, guys, while I'm sitting here with the tedium, I would definitely like to hear what you guys have to say regarding SMGs. You know, what are your thoughts on SMGs? I know a lot of you use SMGs because you'd be crazy not to use them. They're excessively effective. There's just no reason to not use SMGs, you know, at this point. That's how it is with any game that has an imbalance to its PvP, is that, you know, why would you force yourself to be less effective than others just for the sake of some sort of false sense of morals? Like, I'm not going to use SMGs because they clearly need to be fixed. No. Grab yourself an SMG, especially in PvP, and put it to use. Trust me. It's the only way you're going to compete with these people who are going rogue, the people who are farming solo agents for credits. You need to make yourself as effective as you possibly can to survive. Don't put yourself at a disadvantage for the sake of some false sense of, you know, of righteousness. I'm probably going to die up here. So you know what? I think I'm going to call it a day here because I've embarrassed myself enough. It's clear the amount of focus that is required to play in the Dark Zone alone. It's very high, and there's actually quite a lot more LMB up here than I expected, and they're going to start rushing me now. And I'm going to die. So we're going to call it a day there. I hope I made my points clear. I hope you guys enjoyed that sneak peek at my current work in progress Dark Zone solo build. I know I didn't really put it to completely effective use, but there's no denying those abilities and how they can actually potentially benefit you in the Dark Zone. It's just a matter of course, playing very carefully and not getting yourself surrounded by 3 different factions all at the same time like I just did. At the end of the day, I recommend playing with others, but if you really want to be a bit of a masochist, yeah, you know, if you're already considering being a masochist, let me know what you guys have been running for your solo Dark Zone builds. You know, do you focus more on health? Is damage output important to you? What sort of abilities are you running? I would very much like to hear what you guys have to say. Throw it down in the comment section below. Let me know your thoughts on the current SMG situation. And of course, what's your favorite SMG in the game right now? Anything else from me? Throw it down in those comments, and I will see you in the next one.